GSI technology might be the most important chip maker you've never heard of, and they're failing. Arguably, they're failing, and I'm a shareholder of GSI. Their stock is sliding, their visibility is nearly zero, and they're not being taken seriously by the AI crowd. But here's the twist. They're still right, still completely right. And the rest of the world is going to realize that a lot later than they should. A lot later than they should, but a lot sooner than most people realize. GSI doesn't know how to tell its own story. No major YouTube presence, like 500 followers on their Twitter, no aggressive PR, no brand partnerships, no charismatic CEO. And in an industry ruled by hype cycles and narrative dominance, that's fatal, absolutely fatal. NVIDIA didn't win just on chips. They won by embedding themselves into the culture of compute. They won by putting out a lot of great frameworks completely for free that made NVIDIA hardware more useful to developers. GSI, they've got breakthrough architecture, literally breakthrough stuff, but no mouthpiece. Their associative processing unit, or APU, is literally the chip the world is building toward. And yet they've left the storytelling to chance, to people like me, and I don't even care enough. GSI's Gemini 2 APU doesn't work like a GPU. It's not like an NVIDIA GPU. It's built for inference, built natively for inference, not for training. It searches directly inside memory arrays, uses the layout of the memory itself to accelerate AI pattern recognition. Think about what that means. So this is called in-place compute. You don't move the data to the processor. The data is the processor. This flips the entire cloud-based AI model on its head. And on another topic, it's why Jan LeCun is so wrong about AI stuff. He keeps saying you need a world model. You need a world model. No, these large language models, these LLMs, these are the world models. When they spit out 100 pages of perfect prose or perfect computer code, they know what they're doing. They have a view of the world already. What a ridiculous argument against the increasing sophistication we're starting to see. But yeah, back to these APUs, using memory-centric chips versus relying on GPUs from the video game era. Let the gamers have their GPUs back. We don't need them anymore. So with an APU, it's potentially faster, lower power requirement, and optimized for edge and embedded intelligence. Not $40,000 cloud GPUs running 90% of the time idle. That's where AI is going, are these smaller, cheaper chips that are always on. That's what inference at scale looks like. Memory is the new compute. So I've been saying this for months. People who've heard us talk about silver. Aside from silver, all we've barked about this year is AI chips. How I see the same kind of pivot that happened in Bitcoin years ago when ASICs first came out, right? Application-specific integrated chips. Suddenly you had these great little I think we lost the mic there for a second. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. These are the truths they don't want you to know, truly. The stuff they don't want you to know. GPUs will not rule the roost forever because they were designed for rendering graphics. Fact. Absolute fact. So I've been saying this stuff for months. I bought into GSI, made it a part of my whole thesis about how we're moving to edge and mesh compute. And let me be honest here, I'm a little frustrated also. Obviously, I have big silver investments that have done very well this year, and some other stuff that has done pretty impressively. But in terms of GSI, they're just not telling the world what they have. A couple of PDF files is like all they've put out. And I don't think they're wrong. I think they're fucking invisible. I don't think they have a rock star like Jensen Huang at the helm. I think they've got a nearly invisible group of people, yet potentially vastly superior hardware. And yeah, if I had $100 million in the bank right now, just $100 million sitting free, free and untethered from everything else, I would probably double down. Not financial advice, but knowing what I know about, how hardware is the bottleneck of AI at the moment. Not the software. The software is amazing. It's hardware limitations. It's that I have to run a $13,000 box just to get the level of performance we need to actually do what we do as a startup at Intersignal. High-end desktop is not even good enough. So this hardware bottleneck is very real. And so if I had unlimited funds or $100 million, or if I had just won the Powerball, I would almost certainly be doubling down because I'm not fucking wrong. I'm just, obviously I have other needs and other things going on. I can't put 100% of my money into some speculative chip maker. But I've got conviction on this one, despite the limited runway. And that's why this matters. That's why I'm talking about it now. Is NVIDIA is not the only company producing like futuristic AI specific stuff that will rush us into the Star Trek era. The reason why I pulled back from investing in some of our space stuff is they're just launching rockets over and over again. It's the same technology from the 1960s with broadband internet to connect the astronauts. When they're up there bullshitting around, when they're up there eating their shitty freeze-dried food, we get that in HD now. How incredible. It's the same dangerous, insanely expensive technology. And yet with AI, you ask it, hey, can you build a single stage to orbit space plane? And it says, absolutely, give me a couple of minutes. This is taking longer than I thought. I might need 5 minutes. Hey, you can have the 5 minutes. And then it spits out an actual usable schematic for a space plane that uses one stage to orbit or something like that. That's the kind of breakthroughs that people are already seeing. So I realized that I was doing things backwards. You don't get space first. First, you need super intelligence all over the planet. And then from that vast surplus of intelligence, you get novel ways of getting to space that don't cost $60 million a seat and don't have a significant cost, significant risk of loss of property or loss of life. Once space travel is the same as once it's the same as a flight to Houston, then we're in business, and it's not yet there. It's the equivalent of the ships that went across the ocean like 300 years ago. So again, super intelligence will give us the breakthroughs, the cancer stuff, the anti-cancer treatments, the longevity pills, the deep space breakthroughs. This all comes after we are marinating in super intelligence and not before, because we're not capable of it. We're capable of creating the thing that can think of this stuff, but that's not us, and we need to stop fooling ourselves, So anyway, to close this one out, GSI doesn't need to become a media darling. They don't need a Jensen Huang to do Joe Rogan. They just need to be seen once by the right people. The edge AI builders, the sovereign inference crowd, the embedded vision companies. Once that crowd sees what these APUs can actually do today, it's game over. The shift to memory-centric chips is already underway. The world will catch up. And when it does, remember who told you first, just as I told you about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Gemini didn't fail. I'm talking about Gemini, their chip, not Gemini from Google. It just launched way too quietly. You got to do more than a couple of PDF files when you're releasing a chip that potentially puts NVIDIA out of business.